The first time someone told me my sister had borrowed money from them, I didn't think much about it. Families help each other all the time. Friends lend money when someone is going through a difficult moment. At least that was what I believed. But when the third person mentioned the same thing within a single week, I began to feel uneasy. Because every person told the same story. My sister had asked them for money, and she had promised she would repay it very soon. At first, it sounded like a temporary problem. But the deeper we looked, the more disturbing the situation became. What we eventually discovered was far worse than anything we imagined. Stories like this are often shared on exposed stories media, where people reveal secrets hidden inside families. But when the secret belongs to your own family, it feels very different. Because the moment you realize someone you love has been lying to everyone around them, the world suddenly feels unstable. To understand how this situation began, you need to understand my sister. Her name was Emily. Emily was 2 years older than me. Growing up, she was always the more confident one. While I preferred quiet routines, Emily was adventurous and social. She made friends easily. People trusted her quickly. She had a natural ability to connect with others. For most of our childhood, that ability made her the center of attention. Teachers liked her, neighbors admired her, and our parents believed she would achieve great things. Emily always had big dreams. She talked about building her own business someday. She wanted financial independence. She often said she refused to live an ordinary life. At the time, her ambition seemed admirable. After college, Emily moved to another city. She began working in marketing for a small company. At first, everything seemed to go well. She shared stories about new opportunities. She spoke about promotions and new projects. Our family believed she was building a successful career. But about 3 years later, small changes began appearing in her behavior. She started calling our parents more frequently. Sometimes she sounded stressed. Other times she sounded unusually enthusiastic. Occasionally she mentioned financial difficulties, but she always reassured everyone that the situation was temporary. Then the first loan happened. Emily asked my parents for $5,000. She said she needed help covering an unexpected business expense. My parents didn't hesitate. Helping their daughter felt natural. Emily promised she would repay the money within 2 months. At the time, no one suspected anything unusual. 2 months passed. Then 3. Emily apologized and asked for more time. She said a payment from a client had been delayed. My parents trusted her explanation. Eventually, she returned part of the money. Not all of it, but enough to make the situation feel manageable. Looking back now, that was the beginning of a pattern. The next time Emily borrowed money, the amount was larger, $10,000. This time the reason sounded more serious. She claimed she was investing in a new business opportunity. She said the investment could double her money within a year. Our parents hesitated briefly, but Emily spoke with such confidence that they eventually agreed. Again, she promised to repay the money soon, and again the repayment was delayed. Months passed. Excuses appeared. Unexpected problems. Delayed payments. New opportunities that required additional investment. Each explanation sounded believable on its own, but something about the pattern felt increasingly strange. The first moment I truly became suspicious happened during the family dinner. Our parents mentioned Emily's latest business plans. They spoke about her ambition with pride. But when I asked simple questions about the investment, Emily's answers became vague. She changed the subject quickly. At the time, I didn't push further, but the doubt remained. Several months later, another surprising discovery happened. A cousin mentioned that Emily had borrowed money from him. The amount was smaller, only $2,000. But the story sounded familiar. Emily had promised to repay him within a few weeks. Weeks had already turned into months. That conversation triggered something inside my mind. I began wondering how many people Emily had asked for money, and more importantly, why. Within the next few weeks, more information slowly appeared. A former coworker mentioned lending Emily money. An old friend mentioned the same thing. Each story followed the same pattern. Emily explained she needed temporary help. She promised quick repayment, but the repayment rarely arrived. By that point, I realized the situation was larger than a few personal loans. My sister had been borrowing money from multiple people at the same time, and no one knew the full story. That realization worried me deeply, because financial problems rarely remain small once they begin spreading across multiple relationships. Eventually, I decided to speak directly with Emily. When I asked her about the loans, she immediately became defensive. She said people were exaggerating the situation. She insisted everything was under control, but something in her voice sounded strained, almost desperate. That was the moment I knew something was seriously wrong. But the truth we were about to uncover was far worse than borrowing money. Because Emily was not simply struggling financially, she had become trapped in something much more dangerous. And the people who trusted her the most were already caught in the middle of it. After that conversation with Emily, I couldn't ignore the situation anymore. Her reaction had been too defensive. She refused to explain clearly where the money had gone. Instead, she kept repeating that everything would soon return to normal. But by that point, too many people had already mentioned the same story. Emily had borrowed money from them. Each person believed they were helping her during a temporary financial problem. No one realized they were part of a much larger situation. That realization pushed me to investigate further. I began contacting some of the people who had mentioned lending Emily money. At first, the conversations felt uncomfortable. No one enjoys discussing financial problems involving family members. But slowly the information began forming a pattern. One friend had loaned Emily $3,000. Another had given her $7,000. A former coworker had transferred $10,000 after Emily described a business emergency. Every person told the same story. Emily promised to repay them within a few weeks, but the repayment always became delayed. Some people had been waiting for nearly a year. By the time I added the numbers together, the total shocked me. Emily had borrowed nearly $80,000 from friends, relatives, and coworkers. And that was only the amount people were willing to admit. The real number could be much higher. But the biggest surprise came during a conversation with one of Emily's former business partners. He explained that Emily had recently started investing in cryptocurrency trading. She believed the market offered opportunities to multiply money quickly. At first, some trades produced small profits. Encouraged by those early gains, Emily invested larger amounts. But the market changed suddenly. Prices collapsed. Losses appeared almost overnight. Instead of stopping, Emily tried to recover those losses by investing even more money. That decision created a dangerous cycle. Each new investment required more cash, and Emily no longer had enough savings to continue. That was when she began borrowing money from everyone around her, not to build wealth, but to cover previous losses. Each loan was used to fund another risky trade. Each trade was supposed to recover the earlier losses. But the losses only grew larger. For months, Emily had been trapped inside this financial spiral, and the people lending her money had unknowingly become part of the system keeping it alive. When I realized this, my heart sank. My sister had not only made financial mistakes, she had been hiding them from everyone who trusted her. That meant our parents' money was also in danger. The next step was the hardest one. I needed to confirm exactly how much money our parents had given her. When I asked my father about the loans, he hesitated. Then he quietly revealed something I had not expected. Emily had borrowed nearly $50,000 from them over the past 2 years. My parents believed they were helping her start a business. They had no idea the money had been lost in cryptocurrency trading. At that moment, the full picture finally became clear. Emily had been borrowing money from multiple people at the same time, using new loans to recover previous losses, and hoping that one successful trade would fix everything. But that success never came. The confrontation happened during a quiet family gathering. My parents invited Emily to dinner, but this time the atmosphere felt completely different. The financial documents were already on the table. Emily saw them immediately when she walked into the room. Her expression changed before anyone said a word. My father spoke first. He asked her directly about the cryptocurrency trading. For several seconds, Emily said nothing. Then she finally admitted the truth. The investments had failed months earlier. She had lost nearly all the money she invested. But instead of telling anyone, she believed she could recover the losses. She kept borrowing money to continue trading. Each new investment felt like the final opportunity to fix everything. But every attempt only made the situation worse. Eventually, the losses became impossible to hide. By the time the truth came out, Emily owed more than $100,000 to different people. The silence in the room felt unbearable. My mother looked devastated, not because of the money, but because her daughter had been suffering alone and lying about it for so long. Emily began crying as she explained everything. She said the pressure had become overwhelming. Each day she believed the next trade would solve the problem. But the market continued moving against her, and the debt continued growing. The following months were difficult for our entire family. Emily had to face the consequences of her decisions. She contacted the people she owed money and explained the situation honestly. Some were angry. Others were surprisingly understanding. Slowly, she began working out repayment plans. The process would take years. But for the first time, the truth was no longer hidden. That experience changed the way I think about money and success. Many people believe wealth can be built quickly through bold opportunities. They see stories of people becoming rich overnight. But those stories rarely reveal the risks behind them. Real prosperity usually grows slowly, through patience, through discipline, through careful decisions. When people chase rapid success without understanding the risks, the consequences can be devastating. Stories like this are why channels like Exposed Stories Media exist. They reveal the hidden truths behind financial mistakes, family trust, and the decisions that shape our lives. Because behind many stories of quick wealth are lessons learned the hard way. If this story helped you reflect on trust, ambition, and the reality of financial risk, you may find many more valuable lessons here. Make sure you subscribe to Exposed Stories Media. On this channel, you will discover many real stories that reveal powerful truths about life, money, and the choices that determine our future. Sometimes the most valuable wisdom does not come from success. It comes from understanding the mistakes that teach us how to live wiser lives.